What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Skeptic and the Scaredy Cat. I'm Scott.
And I'm Jack.
She's Jack.
Yep.
And say he's Scott.
Oh, and he's Scott.
Thank you very much.
We did not rehearse that bit, clearly.
I thought you would just finish my sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You don't know what I'm saying.
No, I do.
You do know what I'm saying.
I just didn't know what you were saying in that previous one.
In that previous one. You have like raspy librarian voice right now.
Because I have glasses on. For all of our non-viewers, just audio listeners.
She's wearing glasses.
I'm wearing glasses. And fun fact, they're fake. Well, they're blue light.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on, would you?
What's that?
Oh. You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses on now, would you? It's like a common, like really old euphemism, you know. You don't punch someone in the face if they have glasses. That's a nerd. He can't defend himself, sort of thing. Like it's like one of those like in the Looney Tunes and shit like that. Anyways, guys, we are back today with a full episode. We tested our SD card to make sure we're recording our audio. We checked our SD card on the camera and made sure we're recording our video. So we are recording both things
everywhere this time around.
And this is the fourth episode of The Skeptic and the Scaredy Cat.
Woo. But I will say that I would punch a guy in the face who was wearing glasses if he deserved it.
Of course. This is not the olden days. You can punch a guy in the face with glasses on.
If he's harassing me or anyone I know.
Bam. Wha-pow. We're going to get back on being very consistent. And I just started listening to an audiobook called Fuck Your Feelings. And it's all about, like, oh, I don't feel like it. It's like, oh, well, fuck your feelings. Mm-hmm. You do what you need to do, regardless.
Do you think everyone feels like doing their laundry and cleaning the dishes and washing their bathrooms?
Cooking a healthy meal instead of getting McDonald's again?
But you just got to do it.
You just got to do it. And that is, honestly, Jack and I are both very tired today. Mm-hmm. And we were like, but this is our job. This is what we want to do. And we have to do it consistently. And we have to fuck our feelings and just do things sometimes.
And now that we're filming, I'm like so into it. I'm ready. I'm locked in. I want to hear some ghost stories. I want to react. But right before, I was like, oh, I would rather do anything else than this.
It's so weird because I literally love doing this, but I get these like nervous gags before I get on camera. I'm like,
he's literally over sitting on the side of the bed just.
I used to do it before I went on stage on a tour. My fucking gags. Butt would start sweating. I'm like gagging like I'm about to throw up. I'm like pacing back and forth like my heart's racing. I'm so nervous about getting on stage. As soon as I get on stage, I'm like, let's go, everybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm like so ready.
A lot of people, specifically therapists, say that you can't really tell the difference between nervousness and excitement. So if you're feeling nervous, but it's about something you want to do, just be like, no, this is excitement. I'm just bubbling with excitement.
Yeah. And so, guys, we were very excited to film this podcast episode today. So much so that I almost threw up.
Literally.
All right, guys. This first ghost story is called Geronimo Stilton.
Ooh.
Or it's written by Geronimo Stilton. I'm not sure.
Oh. Ooh.
This is a true story. We were staying in this fancy hotel for my cousin's wedding. I was 12. I woke up to a rough shove, assuming that my sister was waking me up. It was early morning, about 7:30. I groggily stepped out of the bed and was hit with hairspray fumes. I heard the sound of someone taking a shower, as well as loud, hurried footsteps and repetitive spritzes of hairspray can. Of the hairspray can. My bad. I walked to the dresser and pulled out a blouse and a skirt. As I got dressed, I heard knocking on my door. I pulled my top fully on and opened the door. There was no one there. I was kind of freaked out, but I knew that it must be my imagination, as I was about half asleep at the time.
Okay.
I exited the bedroom. I heard the shower shut off as I passed the lavatory, then my father's heavy footsteps. At the end of the hall, there was another restroom. I heard repetitive spritzes coming from there and called out to my mother. Hey, Mom, I need to pee and Dad's in the other bathroom. I heard my mother's voice. Alrighty. It was definitely her voice, but alrighty was not something she had ever said. I rolled my eyes and walked away. I figured that I should wake my granddad, as I heard heavy snores coming from the room that he was sharing with my parents. I wondered why my parents hadn't woken him up. When I opened the door, I was scared to see that the room was empty. Just then, the noises and the smell of hairspray stopped.
Ooh.
I ran downstairs and saw that my roommates, Dad, Mom, Granddad, Clarissa, were already eating breakfast. I checked my watch and saw that it was already 10. My mom stared at me. What? I thought. My sister then said, what the heck? I asked them what was wrong. My sister then said, you literally just went to the bathroom, and pointed to the lavatory next to the small kitchen area. I walked over there and pressed my ear to the door. Sure enough, someone was there, washing their hands. I shook it off and counted my fingers, 10 of them. I wasn't dreaming. I knocked on the door, and inside the bathroom, I heard my own voice calling out, alrighty. I looked over at my parents, sister, and granddad, who were all pale. Behind my back, I heard the lock click, followed by my own voice saying, hey there, Sarah, and footsteps. I turned around just in time to see my own feet dressed in my black velvet flats, turning the corner on the staircase. I felt paralyzed with fear, and goosebumps crept up my back. I wasn't able to move for about a minute before I told my family all about what had happened a few moments ago. My sister told me that yesterday, when she woke up, I wasn't in my bed, but she heard noises coming from the bathroom. When she went there, she saw me walking down the hall in my pajamas and called out to me, but I kept walking. When she went back to my room, I was still sleeping in my bed. She freaked out and didn't tell anyone. Fast forward 2 years later, my cousin now has a 6-month-old baby, and we're talking to each other over tea. I told my cousin about what happened to me and my sister, and she froze. That happened to you too? She asked. I felt the goosebumps return to my arms and legs. She then told me that she had woken up and walked downstairs when she saw her fiancé, now husband, sitting at the table eating cereal. He greeted her, then said that he was going to get something from upstairs. It took him some time. Eventually, she felt sort of concerned and went to check on him. He was asleep, still in his pajamas.
What?
The whole family's got this shit going on, huh?
Oh my god.
That's creepy. The first one where it's like herself in the bathroom sounds so like schizophrenic, you know, but then the whole family there is like, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah, I know. I kind of want, when it said jump forward 2 years later, I was like, wait.
So you guys just like blew this off? There was some you in the bathroom?
Did you not just see you and you're just going to flash forward 2 years later? Like, I hate in shows when they do that, when there's like a scene and then they just cut it off, and then in the next scene they just kind of like explain what happened in the scene. I'm like, oh no.
Show me this scene.
We gotta know what happened.
Well,
what happened? Did the second you run away? Did they poof away? Did like your family also see this second?
Did you guys have a long conversation and like freak out and shit your pants, or like what? Did you just
flash forward 2 years later?
I saw myself walk up the stairs, and then 2 years later, I talked to my cousin.
Well, what if?
What if
she was in a psych ward for 2 years? That's why it was flash forward 2 years.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I get it in like a movie or something.
And the whole family's schizophrenic.
The whole family's schizophrenic, and they all see each other's same visions. Yeah. It's in the blood, right? Or whatever, genetic. I understand in movies when you don't get to see the full scene, because it's usually probably like a budget thing or like the practicality of creating this scene. Mm-hmm. But it is definitely annoying. But in a written thing like this, I'm like, this person just lazy, didn't want to like talk more about what happened.
Yeah.
If this is a made up story, then they were just like, well, I don't really want to like spend too much time reading this.
The only reason why I feel like it's made up is because I do feel like if you were writing this story, that would be a natural place to take a break and then be like, okay, 2 years later. But if this actually happened to you, like you would be like, and then I told the second me to stand where they were and the police were on their way. You know what I mean?
It's like, do you run up the stairs, chase after the ghost? Like, I just want to know, like,
what is it? Like a second you? There's
shape shifting.
Yeah, there's like a
mimic.
thing. Yeah, mimic.
We talked about it in an episode.
Yeah. That's a crazy story, though.
It is a crazy story. It is spooky, and I would hate to think that I saw you out there, you know, cooking breakfast or something like that. Actually, I would love to see you cooking breakfast. Just kidding. But then walk in here and you're still asleep.
Yeah.
That'd be insane.
That'd be the freakiest thing ever.
But I would chalk it up to me losing my fucking mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, because like, you know when something's real. Oh, I guess actually you don't know. And that's usually the issue.
That's like one of my biggest fears, is to have like a mental break and not
realize
that I had a mental break, and like just literally live in an alternate reality from everyone else. And
don't worry, I'll let you know.
But will you be able to let me know? Will I understand?
Yes.
That's my fear, is that I will not be able to understand.
We'll get you to understand. That's what you just have to do. You just have to get.
We witnessed this situation happen with people that have had mental breaks, and they don't accept help. They don't They don't understand that they're having a mental break.
Yeah, in their eyes, they think that they are so right and smarter than everyone else, and they've unlocked a part of their brain that nobody else has, and so everybody is just jealous. Anyways, not the topic of...
It's a good topic, though. I mean, this is a podcast where we talk about ghosts, and we chat and we riff.
Yeah, true, but I was going to get back to the ghost part.
Go ahead.
Not the mental health part, and say that I also am very afraid of the idea of, like, me yelling out to you and, like, another voice responds.
That's not my voice, or that is my voice?
That is not your voice. Or it could be your voice, but yeah, it says something that, like, you would never say. And I'm like, what? But even just, like, hearing...
The fuck did he just call me a bitch?
I know that was you. No.
Hey.
No, but, like, I don't know. Hearing, like a deadpan version of your voice and saying, like, if you said alrighty, if I was like, okay, are you ready to go? And you were like, alrighty, I'd be like, that wasn't Scott.
He says alrighty way goofier than that. Alrighty, yep, I'm coming. Ha!
Literally.
Babe, I'm on my way.
Be right there.
Be right there.
What the?
Be right there. I don't know what I was trying to do, man, but I did it.
You did it. You done did it.
Let's get into ghost story number 2.
Let's do it.
This one is by Nuclear Hubris.
Whoa, these names.
You got to be creative when you're coming up with usernames. I wish I had a cool username instead of Scotty Sire or Scott Sire.
Growing up, my username, literally until I got to college, and then I changed it, was Scooby Snacks 93.
Wow. My mom's favorite cartoon, and also was mine for a while.
And your mom's also a Pisces, and I'm also a Pisces.
And my mom's favorite color was green, and my favorite color is green. And when we started dating, you changed your favorite color to green. And now it's a light, icy Cinderella light blue.
Mixed with a little periwinkle.
Mixed with a little periwinkle.
Nailed it!
She changes her favorite color. Like when we first met, it was red. Then it went to green because she was like, I look good in green. And like,
because I dyed my hair red.
Mm-hmm. And now it's that icy light periwinkle Cinderella blue. Perfection. All right, guys, back to Nuclear Hubris's ghost story.
Let's go. Let's start.
I was driving across country with my mom and sister. I was 16, my sister 20, and my mom in her 50s. It was late, but we were well rested and still alert. We were driving along an interstate and needed gas, and they needed to pee. So we stopped at only... So we...
Need to pee on the road trip.
Right. Classic. So we stopped at the only rest stop in 200 miles. There was a van full of teenagers on some road trip and a small gray compact car, like a Honda Accord or some shit, parked at the pump in front of us. 2 men about 17 to 20 were standing outside the Honda in hoodies, statue fucking still. The teenagers were to our left. When we got there, everything felt wrong. There was a deep and unsettling feeling about the place, and we'd not felt that way at any other rest stop. We'd been on the road for days and seen many rest stops at night and had never been afraid until then. My mom and sister went inside and I stayed in the car. I heard the teenagers say they were creeped out and couldn't get the pump to work, and they left in a hurry. I was mostly watching the car in front and the 2 men who had still not moved at all, not an inch. They weren't talking, they weren't on phones, there was no light anywhere but the dim overhead lights on the gas station awning. They were just fucking standing there, still as stone.
Spooky, eerie. Ugh.
I'm over it. I don't like that. I would have gone inside with my mom and sister.
Yeah.
I would not want to be alone in the car.
No way.
My sister and mom came running back out to the car, and when they got in, the 2 men slowly turned to look at us while not moving or pivoting the rest of their bodies. And I swear to fucking shit, we all saw the same thing. They had eyes dark as pitch and empty. Truly empty. Not black, not reflecting any light at all, just a fucking void. We booked it. We have not traveled in excess of 100 miles per hour before or since, but fuck, that day it was warranted. We drove until we were in the next city before we got out of the car again, and you know the worst fucking thing about it? Not the eyes, not the stillness, not that horrible feeling, not the weirdo in the gas station who kept telling my mom and sister, my mama will like you over and over while mopping the same spot on the floor with a dry mop and an empty bucket. It was the fact that we couldn't find the place on any map. We knew exactly which spot on the interstate to look, and we couldn't fucking find it on Google Maps or any paper map we had. We even asked locals about the creepy gas station out on that stretch of road to confused looks, and are you sure you weren't traveling on blank highway and not interstate? We'd traveled on that interstate since, and there was no rest stop.
What the fuck?
What the little world of hell? What the hell? I like that one. That was
that's a
creepy.
movie premise.
That is a movie preface.
Premise.
And the book preface is the movie. That's a good movie premise.
Yeah.
Today, folks. Today, Junior. That's all, folks. I'm losing my mind a little bit today.
You need to go to this Void gas station for a little bit.
I do not need to go to this Void gas station for any bit.
That is the spookiest thing ever, and the fact that the story had cursing in it made me really feel like it's so real, because I could feel the fear through the fucks.
I like that. I love the personality behind the writing and stuff. Like, there's like really good writers and they can write a really good, well punctuated thing, but I love to read just like a normal
Real,
person
raw.
wrote a fucking story,
Especially a ghost story, because it doesn't it just matters about like encapsulating how scary that moment was for you, and that story did that. Like when you said the gas attendant saying my mama will like you, I don't know, you couldn't see me because you were reading. I was like vibrating my head, shaking, because I was so freaked out by that line.
This one I was really able to like vividly imagine while I was reading, because it was so simple to read. I was able to see this like old hillbilly-ish sort of like person in there just mopping the floor, like with saying mama will like you or whatever. Like just like I could just fully imagine it on this one, and I really liked it. Well done.
So spooky. Oh my god. In the beginning they said that there were teenagers that were like booking it out of there.
Yeah.
I wish that like they could find out who those teenagers were and talk to them about it too, their experience.
Yeah. That's true. Maybe there's a comment on that article or something somewhere where they're like, we were there, we saw you.
That is so spooky. And you know what? It sounds like it's such a made up story, because like how could that ever be possible? But when I'm scrolling on TikTok, I've been getting a lot of these quantum jumping or quantum leaping, like switching timeline TikToks, and they're freaky as hell. Like this one girl was snowboarding and she had her friends in front of her and then more people on the mountain. Like the mountain was pretty full behind her, and she went around this one curve and then the rest of the way was straight, and all of her friends were gone. And then she looked back and everyone on the mountain was gone, and she was like, what the fuck? So she started just going down the mountain, and then she finally found this old creepy but working ski lift, gets on the ski lift, and it drops her off to this like weird creepy station. She finds no one's around still. It's been like hours. She finds stairs. She goes down to these stairs, and then she finds a subway station. This is like in the middle of nowhere. She thought she was literally going to die. She finds a subway station that is attached to the ski resort that they're staying at. And so she gets on, nobody's on it, and then it ends up bringing her right to where she needs to be. She gets out, she goes to her ski resort where she was on a class trip where her whole class was, and she walks in and everybody like looks up at her and they're just like, oh, there you are, and they go back to doing their own thing, because like to them she wasn't missing for more than like 20 minutes or whatever, but to her she was all day missing in like this deserted snow zone. And she's like, I swear to God this is true, like I am not lying to you. And then I've seen other stories that are very similar. So that's
some Spirited Away shit.
It's creepy.
That's really creepy.
Oh my God, I kind of want it to happen to me, but
like,
also like
how old was this person? Like the school trip, was it like high school, middle school?
Yeah, she was old enough that like.
What if she just got lost? Like, what if she went down like a wrong path on like?
No, because she said because like the turn that she went on, it was like an open path that would have just. She said she was like skiing down this path for like 30 minutes. That like it should have ended like. She was in the like there was no ski resort or ski lodge or anything.
She's lucky she got out.
Like
she got stuck in a loop.
Nothing there. Yeah, there was nothing
crazy.
there.
That's
it was
really
like she's
creepy.
in the upside down or something. Like
yeah, I would not want to be in the
looked
upside
the
down.
same,
I wouldn't want
but, like,
that at all.
Yeah,
No, I don't like that.
there was another story about a girl going down a slide. It's like it's freaky. It's cool though.
Damn. Well, this is good. If you find stories like that, then we get to react to Jack telling the stories too.
Yeah.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah, or like we can also.
I mean, I don't like that, but it was good.
Maybe we can also react to the videos of themselves.
What? No, this is a podcast.
Oh, true. But we do YouTube.
We do YouTube. If you're listening, check out our YouTube channel. You can look at our gorgeous faces and my socks.
And maybe watch us quantum leap.
Moving right along, folks, we're going to get into our third ghost story of the day. And guess what? We're doing 4 ghost stories today because these have been short, sweet, and to the point.
We love them.
Let's go, baby. This one is written by Barb Katz, 1973. When I was 37. I'm just kidding.
There's no way I could get into the ghost story if you read it like that. There's just no way.
I gotta read it in that narrator, monotone-ish kind of like ghost voice, right?
Wait, can I tell a really quick funny story?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was helping Alex, my roommate, with an audition once, and she was auditioning to play a hooker. Like that's like what the name of the character was.
Hooker.
And the person that she was talking to was her pimp, and so the quote was, "Now you know I'm not going to be happy if I don't got no money." And me, in my stupid little girl voice, I was like, she can't commit if I'm on the other side being like, "Now you know I'm not going to be happy if I ain't got no money." So I tried to do like a deep, dark, scary voice, and I just was like, "Now you know." And she immediately was like, no, you cannot talk like that. I will. I'm like, "Now you know I ain't going to be happy." And she's like, "No, just say it normally." So I was like, "Now you know I ain't going to be happy."
That is a funny story.
Yeah.
I love it. I remember that story. The hooker and the pimp. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, the story is written by Barb Katz. When I was 37.
No!
I'm kidding again. Okay. Here we go. When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. I flew into the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a very rural and almost abandoned part of the country. About 3 miles outside of the town, I see someone on the side of the road, flagging me down. Up in the north woods, no one ever leaves someone stranded. It turned out that it was one of the guys I had attended school with. I will call him Jim. Jim gets in the car and we start talking. I had not seen him in 20 years, but he still looked the same, maybe a little older. We get to town and I ask him if he wants to come to the VFW and have a drink. He says no, just take me home. Jim's parents had lived only a few blocks from my grandmother's house, and I turned in that direction, but he said to take him to a part of town that was really on the outskirts, up by the fairgrounds and the cemetery. There was a mobile home park out there, and I figured that is where he lived. When we reached the end of the turnoff, he said, "Just drop me here. It was good to see you again," and he walks off into the night.
I know where this is going.
I don't, so don't spoil it. I went to the VFW, met some of my old classmates, and we started to talk. Now, please understand, I have never done drugs, nor do I drink more than a soda pop. I was stone cold sober. Tired after a 13-hour flight that had included a 3-hour layover, but sober. As we were talking about who was coming to the reunion, I mentioned that I had just picked up Jim 3 miles east of town and had dropped him off by the fairgrounds. Everyone gets real quiet. Even the guy singing karaoke stops and lays down the mic. My cousin goes white as a new cotton t-shirt. Barb, Jim died on that curb 8 years ago. Rolled his car. We were all at his funeral. I start to feel real dizzy. I go out to the car to take some deep breaths and decide whether or not I'm sane. There on the seat is the local newspaper, printed 8 years previous, containing Jim's obituary. I still have the damn paper. Every now and then I take it out and stare at it and wonder what the fuck happened.
I knew it. As soon as she said that Jim didn't look that much older, I was like, Jim is a ghost, Barb.
I kind of like thought that too, but I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know it was going to be so straightforward that it's like, oh, this guy's dead.
Yeah.
And you picked him up and you dropped him off.
By the cemetery, his home.
And of course, she's going to a reunion in this hometown where there's some hometown people who all,
know what happened. Spooky.
Very spooky, very straightforward ghost story.
Yeah, but I love it.
I loved it.
And I loved that I kind of knew what was going to happen. It made me feel like I'm so in tune with the ghosts that like I can kind of know what ghost stories, the directions they're going to go in.
I feel like the more ghost stories we read, the more we're going to be like, okay, I know what's happening at the end of this one.
Yeah, honestly.
But I love how there is so many opportunities to add twists and turns to ghost stories, and like just like things that you wouldn't expect. Like that's what makes a story good, is like when something that you don't expect to happen happens. Straightforward ones are good too. Yeah,
but honestly, all ghost stories are good because
they're about ghosts.
An interesting story. Yeah, it's about a ghost. So like even if you told me that pretty much exact same story, but like different storyline, like going to a friend's wedding and like whatever, I'd still be like, whoa, spooky. Because it's so interesting and cool and spooky to think about.
Mm-hmm. I find it kind of funny that she had to preface, or like felt the need to preface, that she like had never drank more than a soda pop and didn't do drugs. It's like, I mean, you were driving from the airport, like whatever. Like I didn't expect you to have been like on drugs or drinking. Like,
yeah.
But thanks for letting me know.
Barb sounds like a little bit of goody two shoes. The soda pop.
Soda pop. Barb Katz, 1973. So
we
maybe
love
this
you,
is
Barb.
a slightly older woman.
Yeah. And we love you. And
great job on your story.
Jim just wanted to say hi. I'm sorry, what?
I said great job on your story, and I was like, I mean, great job on your writing out your experience that you experienced.
Yes. And
you think it's real? Real or fake?
Real.
Okay.
Unless something is like screaming at me fake, I want to believe they're all real.
Isn't the first story we read, weren't we like, kind of seems a little fake, the schizophrenia kind of sounding one?
Oh yeah, but because that one had me having like so many questions. Like I like how the end of that story, she was like, I still don't know to this day like what the fuck happened. Like I like that. Yeah, okay. She also is in question, where the first story was just like, well, anyway, 2 years later.
All right, guys. So if you are ever writing a ghost story, just know you got to end it with like, I still don't know what happened. And then everyone will automatically think definitely real then. Because
they're just as confused as we are.
All right, this next story is a story that I actually read in our bonus episode where we had our audio issues, but I wanted to have it included in our actual podcast, and I'm, going to read it again. So if you already heard it and you don't want to listen to it in this nice, crisp audio tone,
everyone wants to listen to that.
Then sign off now. But if you do want to listen to it,
stay.
The story is called The Swing Set. I was about 9 years old, living in Massachusetts. My sisters and I had a swing set out in the backyard that we'd take turns pushing each other on. I had one older sister who was 11 and a younger sister who was just 6. There was only one swing and we'd all take turns on it. But of course, as older sisters, we didn't give Natalie, the youngest, as much time on the swing. Sometimes we'd be ready to go inside and she'd sit on the swing for one last turn, begging us to push her one more time. Push me, push me. Almost every time, we'd humor her and give her one last turn on the swing. We'd go out and push her so she could spend a couple more minutes, and she was always so happy. One morning, we had gotten up and ready for school early, and my older sister and I went out to the swing set and each took a turn before we had to leave. When it was time to leave, our mother called us inside, and my younger sister ran outside sobbing and sleepy-eyed. She yelled, "I didn't get a turn. You went on the swing without me." Sat down and said, "Don't leave yet. Just a minute. Push me. Push me." I kind of snapped at her. "No, Natalie, we have to go. We can't push you right now. We'll play when we get back from school." She didn't understand, but we couldn't be late for school. She came inside sobbing, and my mother tried to console her as she was driving us to school, reassuring her that she could go on the swing when they got home. My mom dropped Jennifer and I off at school, and not 10 minutes into class, we were asked to the principal's office. My mother and little sister had been hit by a car that blew a stop sign just 3 minutes away from the school. My mother survived with minor injuries, but my little sister died the instant of collision, as the car that hit them struck the back of the car on the side my sister was sitting. Obviously, my family was devastated. My father resented my mother for the accident and tried not to, but definitely blamed her for what had happened. Not outwardly, but you could tell the tension between them when they spoke. My mother blamed herself as well, even though it clearly wasn't her fault. It was in her car while she was driving, so she felt like she was at blame. My older sister tried to console my mother and would also interject whenever our parents were fighting, trying to keep the peace. When it happened, I just shut down. I felt like it was my fault too. This was the only time we hadn't given Natalie a turn on the swing set. I was 9 years old, and I guess I still had this sort of childish superstition. If I had done something differently, then she wouldn't have died, right? If I wasn't so worried about getting to school on time and let her have a turn on the swing set, then she would still be here with us. They wouldn't have been going through that stop sign at that exact moment and been hit by that car. Years went by. My father became an alcoholic. His resentment towards my mother grew stronger. Their relationship couldn't be saved, and they got divorced. Life moved on. We lived with our mother and saw our father on the weekends occasionally. Eventually, my sister and I grew into adults and started our own lives. My sister actually moved out of the state, but I stayed, got married, and started a family of my own. We had 2 daughters about a year and a half apart. When they were old enough, my husband and I built a swing set in our backyard for them. I wanted them to experience the joy I remembered sharing with my sisters. One night, my daughter woke me up in the dead of night and told me that someone was in the backyard on the swing set. Alarmed, my husband and I got up and went out to look. I didn't see anything, but as the wind blew and the leaves rustled, I felt as though I could hear someone saying, "Push me," in a very familiar voice. But we chalked it up to nothing and went back inside. My daughter was just being a kid and getting scared of a shadow, and my memories of my sister were just playing with my head. I had never quite let go of the guilt I felt for not giving her a push on that swing set all those years ago. A few months went by without anything weird happening. My youngest celebrated her 9th birthday. Now they were the ages my older sister and I were when our sister passed. One evening I was washing dishes and looking out the window at my daughters playing on the swing set, taking turns pushing each other. Then at one point my youngest got off the swing. They both just stood there for a moment and appeared to be talking to each other. Then my older daughter started pushing the swing as if there was someone sitting on it. My heart sank, memories of my little sister flooding back in again. I didn't know what they were doing, pushing the empty swing? An imaginary friend, maybe? But I felt frozen. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up as I put a plate in the cabinet. Then I heard my daughter yell from outside, "Mommy, she said it's okay. It's not your fault. She's not staying long. She just wanted to play on the swing set one last time." And then I saw her, my little sister in the seat of the swing, giggling with joy as my daughters pushed her. She stopped, stood up, looked at me, and waved at the kitchen window, and then disappeared. My daughters went back to taking turns on the swing, as if nothing had happened. I collapsed to the floor and sobbed. I try to tell myself I'm not superstitious, but I felt like I finally got to say goodbye to my sister, and she finally got her turn on the swing set.
So good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wrote it.
Yeah, so guys, the only reason why I wasn't reacting to that one was because I've already heard it, but the first time I heard it,
She got the chills.
I got the chills.
And then I got the chills.
I know, I looked over at his leg and he had the chills, and then he was like, I wrote the story, and I'm like, you got chills at your own story?
No, that is such a well-written, beautiful, sad, but beautiful story.
Thank you. I whipped it up as an example. I was trying to give Doran an example of like how to write a first-person ghost story, and I was like just gonna like toss it, like just like poop it out, like and just end it really quickly and shit. And then I was like, I'm kind of enjoying writing this, so I like sat there for like 25 minutes or so, and I whipped it up.
Write another one.
That's another 25 minutes of work, babe.
Well, it can be shorter and maybe more ghosty, spooky, not beautiful love family story.
Heartwarming.
Heartbreaking, heartwarming.
Tragic, heartbreaking, heartwarming. Yeah. I mean, I can try, but I don't like scary stuff that much.
You'll scare your stuff. You'll scare your stuff. You'll scare yourself while you're writing it. I'll just walk past your office and I'll hear, oh, oh, and I walk in and you just look up at me and you're writing.
That would be ridiculous. No, but I liked writing that one because it was like, all right, this is a first person ghost story, and then it has like a nice ending where it's like there's a resolution that makes you feel good. Like I like feel good movies and stuff. Like
I know.
I'm not a huge fan of horror movies. Like I watch them. Like I loved what was the super popular one that was like home video recording?
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, that first movie fucking wrecked me.
It wrecked me too.
But I loved it.
I was 18 years old sleeping in my mom's bed because I was too scared to sleep in my own bed.
I think I was 18 or 19 as well, and I watched it with friends, and like 2 of them stayed the night, and we like slept in my like game room at my house. Like we were just all like
so scared.
This is spooky, man. And that was before they had to like say something about it being fiction. Eventually they like put something in, but when we saw it in theaters they didn't like have that. It was just said it was like a true story, and I was like, are you fucking serious? Like
the only thing that had ever come out like that, I feel like that was popular, was the Blair Witch Project, but that was so many years before. Like Paranormal Activity, when it came out, if you guys were too young to know this, it was marketed as just a real true story
of this family who like they had like security cameras that they set up, and like it starts with like home video,
and they the family like is disappeared now, like they just found these recordings, and so it was the creepiest thing on earth. And then they made a billion more, so we knew that wasn't real.
Yeah, but it was the absolute perfect setup, like because you go into the theater and it's like, this is like based on true events, or like this is a true story, and like it's like literally like they got the footage and then they aired it as a movie, and it was like, it's just insane.
And there wasn't any known actors, so it wasn't like, oh no, this isn't real. Like I remember debating with my friends, being like, no way, that was definitely real. They're like, no way, no, that'd be like on the news. I'm like, no, it's definitely real.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a believer at that point when I first watched that movie. I was like, that's fucking scary as shit. And the fact that they packaged it as real, they must have had to change it because it was like like
actually like
causing some psychosis in people or something.
terrifying
Like,
people.
just, like actually scaring people super into bad I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was good. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out if you're a horror fan.
Yeah.
But,
Check out
I
the
mean,
first
it
one,
is
the
probably
first
like
one.
one of the most highly recommended like horror movies. But
Yeah, they get a little crazier as they make the 4th, 5th, 6th one, but the first one is really, really, really good.
I don't think I've seen the 4th, 5th, and 6th,
Me
but I
neither.
did watch the first 3, I think.
I
so.
think I watched the first 3 too.
Is there a 4th, 5th, and 6th actually?
I don't know. It's
just saying, you know.
just yapping. Just yapping.
Well, guys, that is going to be the end of this episode, I believe, unless, Jack, you have anything else you'd like to say.
No, that's it.
Oh, well, I would like to say I love you so much. You're all amazing.
Oh, well,
and
I
Jack
want to
is
say
such
that
a
I
jerk
love
for
you
not saying
guys
that.
so much even more than
Yeah,
that.
right. She's just saying it because I said it now, and you know it's true. I mean, it's not true when she said it because
You said it. It's true. I do love you guys more than he does. He said it.
you were listening to or watching. Oh, fuck. Shit. Fuck. Piss.
What?
Guys, be sure to like the episode,
yeah.
rate our podcast on
Yeah.
Spotify, subscribe if you're new here. We would love to see you again sometime, and we would love for you to see us again sometime. Anyways, you have been watching or listening to The Skeptic and the Scaredy Cat. I'm Scott!
Oh, God, we're not doing this anymore. I'm Jack.
And she's Jack! Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.